And now, here's Mike Muse with the political news.
So let's get right to it and meet the candidates.
That completes the opening statement.
We're going to get right to it.
On Sway in the Morning.
All right, we got the one and only curator, since that's a popular word in the past couple of years, of the Mike Muse Show.
I like that word, bro.
No, you do. On POTUS, every Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern, it's Mike Muse from the Mike Muse Show.
What's happening, guys? What up, Sway?
How you doing, Mike?
Man, still on a high, brother.
I saw your Grammy show that you did on the Grammy nominations.
Yeah, the Oscar nominations.
I mean, excuse me. I said Grammy. Yeah, Oscar nominations.
Yeah, it is Grammy week, so I can see.
Yes. And,
yeah, man, so we had a great time on ABC yesterday morning, just kind of breaking down all the social constructs that's happening in the films that got nominated and the actors that got nominated and what it means for society, and is life imitating art imitating life.
Okay, you did a good job with that,
Thank
man.
you, brother.
I couldn't help but think about you last night as I was watching all the coverage on the news cycle talking about Senator Special Counsel Robert Mueller has expressed interest in questioning President Donald Trump about the FBI Director James Comey and Michael Flynn.
Yeah.
What does this mean?
Sway, it's interesting, man. If you recall, just 2 days ago, we were talking about the government being shut down.
Yeah.
Right? And now the government's open, and now we moved on to a whole different topic. And yesterday, you saw nothing but red on your computer screens and red on your television sets, and that means breaking news was coming in. So breaking news happened yesterday around the Special Counsel Robert Mueller's investigation on Russia. The New York Times, Sway, broke an article that said Attorney General Jeff Sessions was grilled for hours last week, and Mueller really focused on the firing of FBI Director James Comey, as well as the firing of Mike Flynn. We saw the Washington Post also had a breaking news story where it said at the time the acting FBI Director, Mr. McCabe, President Trump asked him inside the White House who did he vote for in 2016, and so what he was alluding to was essentially, do you have loyalty to me, or do you have loyalty to the other side and those who are trying to bring me down? As we all know, that's what got him into question when the firing of James Comey occurred, because there's always this conversation about a loyalty oath, right? Who's he pledging loyalty to? Right. And as we all know, the Justice Department is supposed to be independent of the president and operate as well. Also, too, the Washington Post came out with another story, Sway, that said Prosecutor Mueller seeks to question President Trump himself regarding the firing of Mike Flynn and the Comey departure. And Sway, all this is kind of bubbling up to what we're seeing now is the focus seems to be now on obstruction of justice.
So what about Russia's interference?
As of now, we don't know. We don't know what Rob Mueller has in store, but it seems to be less about the Russia collusion investigation and more about obstruction of justice. And Sway, the issue is that President Trump has actually got his own self into trouble, right? And so when he fired the FBI director in this very public fashion, but then he goes on and Lester Holt to do an interview where he basically says that I fired Comey so that I can get rid of this investigation, so it's on public record. We've also seen tweets from the President Trump saying these exact same things. And so
let me ask you this: the fact that Mueller wants to question President Trump, so we're nearing the end of all of this then, right? Because you wouldn't question him until you had all your facts, and right?
That's a really great question. We don't know exactly what this timing is. President Trump's attorneys have said that this is going to come to a speedy end. Mueller feels like he has enough now to begin the questioning of President Trump. We still just don't know what else Mueller has in store, but one would assume that denounce exactly what you're thinking, Sway, is that we are coming close to the end. What's interesting about this is all the people that Mueller has interviewed and has questioned so far. It's an interesting list, Sway. So we have Sally Yates, who's a former acting attorney general. You have Mike Pompeo, who's a current CIA director. You have former chief of staff Reince Priebus, the current attorney general Jeff Sessions. You have the director of national intelligence community Dan Coates. You have Mike Rogers, NSA director. You have James Comey, Mike Flynn. Sway, those are high-level officials, and those are really top in the cabinet, if you will. So it's getting heated and getting strong. But there's another side to this coin, too, as well, Sway. And so regarding Attorney General Jeff Sessions' interview, reporters asked him in the White House yesterday, is he concerned, is he worried? And here's what he had to say.
Thank you all very much. Very proud of this. Thank you. No, I'm not at all concerned.
Did you talk to him about it?
No, I didn't, but I'm not at all concerned.
He's not at all concerned.
No, so he's not worried.
Yeah.
And so it's given that he's confident. He's signaling to the American public that he has nothing to hide. He doesn't believe he has anything to do with obstruction nor of the Russian collusion. Those in the Republican Party and the conservative branch also believe that President Trump is being attacked unfairly by the Justice Department. We have a popular Republican and conservative commentator, Lou Dobbs from Fox News, and here's what Lou Dobbs had to say regarding President Trump.
Good evening, everybody. It may be time to declare war outright against the deep state and clear out the rot in the upper levels of the FBI and the Justice Department. Yes, I said the rot. The FBI and the DOJ have broken the public trust by destroying evidence, defying oversight, and actively trying to bring down the Trump presidency.
So now we're hearing commentary from that side saying that war needs to be taken to the FBI to essentially erode the Americans' trust in the intelligence community and in the FBI. But it's just not the conservative punditry community's way, but it's also senators and Republican Party. And here's exactly what Senator Ron Johnson, a Republican of Wisconsin, had to say.
That secret society, we have an informant that's talking about a group that were holding secret meetings off-site. There's so much smoke here. There's so much suspicion.
Let's stop there. A secret society, secret meetings off-site of the Justice Department.
Correct.
And you have an informant saying that?
Yes.
Is there anything more about that?
No, we have to dig into it.
Yo, man.
Yeah, so
What's going on with our country, man? This sounds ridiculous to me.
absolutely. And that's the other side of the coin in terms of how people feel about it. And there's something to be said about when you begin to erode the sanctity of the FBI and begin to instill some type of distrust and conspiracy theories. And this is on the Fox News channel, and the commentator tried to get him to say who is the informant, but he wouldn't say. He tried to ask him to give more evidence, and he wouldn't say. Sway, we began to go up a dangerous slope, because not only does that affect us domestically when the electorate and American public feels that they can't trust the FBI, but then what happens when our intelligence community are off overseas? What happens when we're interacting with these other countries that we have to work with on intelligence operations, right?
Yeah.
Well, these countries feel like they can't trust our intelligence officers, and so that's where we are right now in our state of politics, which is it's not a good place to be in terms of security domestically.
All right, we got Rich on the line. He's our in-house attorney. You know Rich from Philly.
Yo, what up, Rich?
You know, by the way, congratulations on the Eagles, Rich.
Hey, you know, I might live in Philly, but I'm a Pats fan.
Damn!
Wow!
You like?
Hey, I'm from New England. Hey, I'm a transplant. I'm a transplant.
Okay. Philly's most hated. All right. What are your thoughts?
Hey, I'm gonna tell Trump, like every lawyer and black mama will tell their son, don't talk to the cops, because this is not about to end well for him. Because right now, what's happening is if they're interviewing him, it's not about the Russia collusion, because that stands for itself. They're trying to talk to him about what's called his mens rea, which is his guilty mind. So they want to see what his mindset was behind the firings of Comey and them, to know if he actually did it to interfere with the justice. And so if they can prove that, he might be going down. So I advise him to do something he can't do, which is shut up.
Well, I think his attorneys proposed doing some type of hybrid interview where he would answer some questions verbally, and other questions he would respond to written.
Yes, so the White House counsel and his personal attorney has requested that there be written statements and questions and Q&A from President Trump. What we're seeing now is Bob Mueller actually wants an in-person interview to sit down with him. And it's important for that because they get a chance to see his body language, they get a chance to ask rebuttal questions, and he may open himself up for further questions to be asked down the road.
What are your thoughts? Give us a call, 888-742-3345. And coming back, we're going to talk about
the shutdown.
Okay. Thank you, Rich. You're a citizen.
Sway in the morning, homie. Yo, so they came around looking for you to. I like you boom boom damn, informer. You know, say that I'm a stomach, I go glam. I like you boom boom damn. Take them on the say that I'm a stomach, stop somewhere down the lane. I like you boom boom damn, so.
Now more of the daily news on Sway in the Morning.
That secret society, we have an informant that's talking about a group that were holding secret meetings off-site. There's so much smoke here. There's so much suspicion.
Let's stop there. A secret society, secret meetings off-site of the Justice Department.
Correct.
And you have an informant saying that?
Yes.
Is there anything more about that?
No, we have to dig into it.
Hey, we got Jose on the line from Fresno. What up, big Jose?
Jose!
What up, Jose?
What it do? What it do? What it do?
Hey, you from the swamps?
Oh, come on now.
Okay, my man. That's
Area.
Ain't that an area in Fresno? Jose?
What, the swamp?
Yeah.
You know, it's like a little bit all over.
Oh, okay. My bad. All right. Jose, I know that. I know the region. All right. What's up, man? What's your comment?
My comment is I feel that what was being said was kind of one-sided and biased, and simple facts ain't being adhered to.
Okay. Talk about
it. But the facts that have been presented through the investigation and everything that's been divulged in the investigation has showed the corruptions and the coincidental occurrences of how the Justice Department has felt the United States people.
Okay.
I guess, Jose, what evidence, what are you alluding to where you said it shows that the FBI and Justice Department has defaulted the American people? I don't...
I mean, here you want to go with 18 minutes of, back in 72 of missing Watergate tape footage, and here we got 5 months of missing text messages. We got 33,000 emails that got all of a sudden destroyed when you could backlog archive stuff and everything else in the U.S. government, but all of a sudden they want to destroy certain information. I mean, just body language, you guys speak of body language, just the body language that Comey had from last year to this year when giving his talks or even under oath.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, shows a different story, but he's saying what the body's really saying. I mean, if people want to check it out, there's a book by Joe Navarro, a FBI agent who wrote a book as far as what the body's really saying. I mean, you hear what someone says, but when you see what they're saying, it's a whole different story.
Yeah. Good point, Jose. I mean, that's fair, right?
Yeah.
That's fair.
No, it's absolutely fair what he's saying. And so what Jose brings up is, again, as we presented the story when we began to talk, so we talked about the two sides of it. So we talked about the breaking news that was happening in the Washington Post and New York Times, but then we also brought in the other side in terms of conservative viewpoints and Republican viewpoints in the sense of they believe that the FBI and the Justice Department is doing wrong. Uh-huh. What Jose is talking about, too, is just in his references, the Hillary Clinton email scandal, the text messages that have gone back and forth between the FBI agent who was assigned to Bob Mueller's special prosecution case, who then Special Prosecutor Rob Mueller took him off the case as well. The other 500 shows that there was just chatter back and forth against the Democrats and against Republicans. And so, again, it goes back to the distrust of the Justice Department and the FBI.
What were in those text messages? It's being alluded that there was the missing text messages may have had evidence of a crime.
That is what is being discussed, but they all have the 500 text messages, and they haven't released all of the transcripts of all the text messages that have come out. Yeah. But what has come out in the text messages is what the exact point that happened when the story came out when Special Prosecutor Bob Mueller fired the FBI agent because there was text messages that went on to say that, to paraphrase citizens, he was speaking to another FBI agent. He said, "I cannot believe Trump won. We have to do something regarding this." What that was paraphrasing was essentially, what do we do in the sense of if there's a Russian collusion or story that happened? That exact same FBI agent has come out in the other 500 text messages also said that I actually don't want to be on Special Prosecutor Bob Mueller's case because my gut is telling me there's nothing there, right? And so it's this. What we're talking about is the exact same person. So we're talking about the exact same person who got fired from Bob Mueller's investigation because of a text message that was not in favor of Trump. But then that same FBI agent also came back and said that he doesn't even believe in the Special Prosecutor Bob Mueller's case because there's nothing there, so he doesn't want to be on it. So that's the same guy who got fired from it. So
and then Trump sent out a tweet on the 23rd saying yesterday where are the 50,000 important text messages between FBI lovers Lisa Page and Peter Strzok?
So it's exactly the case I'm talking about right now. And so it goes back and forth to that happened once the FBI, the Republican and the conservative viewpoint was that it was a witch hunt against the FBI, and the FBI is biased. And they're biased because there was this text message that was discovered that this FBI agent who serves on Bob Mueller's committee was not in favor of President Trump. When he won, he was upset. That is the exact same individual who said that he does not want to serve on Bob Mueller's investigation in the text message because he doesn't believe there's a there. Okay. So it's the exact same person.
Jose, thank you for bringing that up, man. We respect you. You're a citizen.
Sway in the morning.
But that's why it's important, Sway. And I'm actually glad you allowed that to breathe a little bit, right? Is because what happens is people are so quick to want to jump on a soundbite, and they're so quick to want to jump on this clickbait, if you will, without understanding the proper context. So the exact same individuals who believe that this is a witch hunt against President Trump found that one particular text took all his other texts that he was communicating with the other fellow female FBI agents and just harped on that because it favored their viewpoint of a takedown. But then they didn't elaborate the other side of it, where he went on to say, I'm not in favor of this investigation because I don't believe that there's a there with the Russian collusion.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So again, you have to put everything in context. And so it's quick to jump on the email dumps or text dumps, but then you have to step back and look at the broader picture of it all.
Jason in Houston. What up, Jay?
Hey, I was just calling to say, like, so with all this said, like, Trump, he's not a military guy. He never really trained. And so I think that if he was to be questioned, because, you know, you're not really, you know, you put your hand in a cookie jar and your mom asks you, yo, did you take a cookie? Most likely you're going to act a little weird if you were guilty of it. So I don't understand why he isn't really agreeing to just immediately just let himself be interviewed and then just get this all over with. What I'm concerned with is, like, you know, I'm sort of agreeing. I'm agreeing. Like, I don't know whether or not there is any Russian collusion at all, and I just think that he just won out of fucking nothing. And so, but in the event that there is, he's not trained militarily, so he's not going to be the best when it comes to interview tactics. So he could probably crack really easily.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know,
We get it. We get what you're saying, Jay.
Yeah.
Jay, I appreciate you.
What's important, Sway, is that I don't want the citizens to get confused now, because now there's been a lot of stuff added to the conversation. So just to get us back on track and to be linear, Sway, in the beginning, I started off the conversation by presenting both sides from what was happening, being reported in breaking news, versus the Republican conservative side of it. I then went on to say that there's two different categories now that we're focused on: the Russian collusion or obstruction of justice.
Yeah.
What I then went on to say was that we're seeing less of Russian collusion. And I think that's what some of the callers are alluding to.
Yeah.
What I said is that we're not seeing evidence that Mueller is focused on that. What we're seeing is evidence of obstruction of justice that we're focused on right now. And then I presented a case essentially of why there is obstruction of justice case going on, because of President Trump's own public statements that he's made when he fired the FBI director, which is unprecedented for a sitting president to fire a sitting FBI director. He then went on to say that it was for other reasons. Immediately, he did an interview with Lester Holt that evening that countered what he said in public by actually saying that he fired him because he wanted to get rid of this FBI Russia collusion case.
Yeah.
So that immediately strikes up an obstruction of justice case. That's actually what triggered Bob Mueller's to begin to focus and go down that path. So citizens, that's what we're focusing on. So we can bring in all these other things and these distractions, which are fair. People should be concerned about the FBI. People should want to question that. People have their right to say that the FBI is corrupt. But just be aware there's a consequence when you say those type of things overseas and our troops and military when we begin to publicly discredit that. So we're in the obstruction of justice case solely based upon President Trump's own public statement that appear to be obstruction of justice.
Quick. We got to be brief on the shutdown.
For sure.
Okay.
The shutdown, man, Sway, is that the government's back open. It's only back open for another 3 weeks. My prediction is that we're going to get shut down again because Schumer drove another line in the sand, essentially. He said that Friday last week that caused the shutdown. He actually, allegedly, they're saying that Schumer offered President Trump $25 billion to fund the wall as long as Trump gave the Democrats full DACA protection. President Trump allegedly walked away from that. So now what Chuck Schumer is saying that now the government's back open, I'm not giving you any money for the wall, so the wall funding is now off the table. So now we're going right back into an impasse to where we are. So another 2.5 weeks, citizens, we'll be back having the same old conversation again.
All right. You all right, Heather? All right, real quick, Mike Muse.
Want me out.
Mike Muse, you guys can continue. Mike Muse earned his own show now here at Sirius XM. He's on the POTUS channel on channel
124 at 1 p.m. on Saturdays and 4 p.m. on Eastern Standard Time on Sundays.
Who do you have coming on the POTUS channel this weekend?
Yo, Sway, I now have Oscar-nominated Common for a second time and first-time Oscar-nominated Andra Day joining me on the call this Saturday.
You're going to talk about what?
We're talking about redefining activism through the lens of music.
Okay.
And what's important for me that Sway is just really as we go through this moment and this movement is understanding how music has controlled that narrative. And here's what they're talking. Here's what they have to say.
I always thought the first thing to being an artist is just expressing yourself.
Yeah, there you go, man. There go Common right there, man.
Hey, boo.
Common ain't never been on POTUS.
No, not at all, man. Yo, but it's going to be such a dope conversation, Sway, because it deals with, in the sense of, I'm talking about Young Thug, I'm talking about Ray Shrummer, I'm talking about, could they be seen as activists? What is the meaning of activist? I have this executive director of the Grammy Museum on to talk about the different movements of protest throughout the decades. I'm going to deep dive into punk rock in terms of what policies came out of the punk rock era and juxtaposing that to hip hop. So it's going to be a really fascinating conversation and discourse. So you don't want to miss this very provocative conversation.
Any comments on things we spoke about today? We love it, man. Every side of it, every angle of it. Ain't two sides, left and right. That's just ridiculous to me. People feel differently in different ways about what they're hearing and what they're experiencing based on our government. So hit up Mike Muse directly at
I am Mike Muse. That's I am Mike Muse, MUSE on Instagram and Twitter.
We got
It's drama in sports. Your LeBron James, your Golden State Warriors, the 2018 NBA All-Star roster. It is a mess what's going on right now.
Okay, my Mark is trying to call me, my driver from earlier.
Oh, yeah, more drama. I love it. Bully
All right, Shay 45.